Friendship.
Charity.
Mutual assistance.
Friendship, charity, mutual assistance.
This is your legacy. Please stand for the singing of our national anthem.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the New England Society in the City of New York's virtual gala, celebrating 215 years. My name is Phelps Hope, and the annual gala committee asked me to MC this evening since I lead the production team that's bringing you this virtual experience. Of course, we would rather be enjoying each other's company live and in person as we do each year. However, these very challenging times have made meeting together virtually the safest and most responsible way for us to get together. I know it won't curb our enthusiasm, however, as we will still share fellowship with each other and celebrate in the success of our scholars, past and present, for whom this society has supported over the years. First, a huge thank you to our past recipients for that great opening, reciting your mission. Let's recognize Carolyn Johnson, Wesley College, class of 2017. Emily Betta, Connecticut College, class of 2017. Andy Ma, Yale, class of 2017. And Rahima Ibrahim, Brown University, class of 2018. They are excited to be here with us to celebrate this year, and we appreciate their participation. NES was founded in 1805 to promote the attributes of friendship, charity, and mutual assistance. New Englanders living in New York back then began the efforts, and those of you today continue this legacy through its philanthropic outreach. We have a great evening in store, and you will hear from past and present scholarship recipients, celebrate distinguished honorees, and have an opportunity to donate to our scholarship fund to build on our legacy. I'd like now to introduce your president, Benedict Gedominski Jr., your 100th president. He is a native Bostonian, and he was in Boston for 45 years before his move to New York City. Over his 32-year career in financial information technology, he retired in 2010. Immediately following sought ways to give back, joining NES in 2011. He has served as the chair of the scholarship committee, is a voracious reader, and since 2014 has served on the Book Awards committee, and through 2017 also served on the board of directors. Benedict is an active member of the Blue Hill Troupe, where he builds theater sets as the head of the construction. What a way to relax. Without further ado, your president, Benedict Gadaminski Jr.
Thank you, Phelps, for that great introduction. Good evening, members, guests, and our honoree, Susan Whistler. Welcome to our first and hopefully our only virtual gala, celebrating our 215th year. For those who do not know me, my name is Benedict Gadaminski and the 100th president of the Society. This gala would not have happened without the hours of work done by the Gala committee. And now I would like to introduce them to you. First, Ellen Scodato and Sonny Haywood, who are the co-chairs. Jan Whitman Ogden, chair of the Silent Auction Committee, and once again has done a great job. Sarah Hunter Hudson, who worked closely with Susan Whistler to help put this together. Other members are Carolyn Zizima, Laurie Jeffrey, Daisy Pearson, Scal and Diane Scalonia, and of course, Alexander Owens and her staff at Kellen. Let's all give them a round of applause. This gala is to support our wonderful scholarship program, and you will be hearing from several current and past scholarship recipients throughout the evening. With the current pandemic, there was never a more important time to step up to help rising freshmen attend the New England college or university of their choice. Many are first-generation students going to college, and the pandemic hit some of these families especially hard. This year, we committed $100,000 to help students complete their studies over the next 4 years. With Jan Ogden's leadership, once again, there are many wonderful items in a silent auction for you to bid on throughout the evening. In addition, please open up your wallets and give generously to the scholarship fund. Now, please raise your glasses and be upstanding for our traditional toast. To the President-elect of the United States. To our armed forces, wherever they may be stationed. In bowing to our history, those next few toasts are from the Society's annual dinner in 1872. The city of New York. She sits at the gateway of the nation, welcoming the pilgrims of every age and clime to its hospitable shores. To the city of New York. The state of New York. Its true grandeur must spring from the intelligence and virtue of its citizens, the wisdom and justice of its laws, and the purity and patriotism of those entrusted within their administration. To the state of New York. Our sister societies, devoted with us to the common cause of charity, we welcome their ambassadors to the best we have to offer. To our sister societies. The old homesteads of New England, the abode of industry and intelligence, of piety and patriotism. They are fresh in our memories and hallowed in our affections. To the old homesteads of New England. It is now my pleasure to present the J.P. Morgan Award, named for the noted financier, art collector, and philanthropist who was the Society's 26th president. This award is presented annually to a member who has demonstrated outstanding service and devotion to the New England Society. This year's recipient is a longtime member of the New England Society, a former director, and for many years, the chair of the Patrons and Benefactors Committee, and also instrumental in working with Susan Whistler to make this evening a success, Sarah Hudson.
This evening, my whole life has come full circle. I was born in Boston, raised and educated in New England, and went to camp in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. I have fond New England memories of sunrise breakfasts on Bridgewater Hill overlooking Newfound Lake, blueberry picking outings on hillsides in Maine, and many wonderful hours at the beach on Cape Cod, Singing Beach in Manchester by the Sea, and Cranes Beach in Ipswich. I also remember reading Ethan Frome on a desolate, snowy day in western Massachusetts as a student at Northfield. As an adult, I fell in love with a family home overlooking the Green Mountains in Vermont. However, I have been a New Yorker ever since I graduated from Sarah Lawrence. 27 years ago, I was officially welcomed into the New England Society in the city of New York by a dear friend, Eben Keyes, who was the executive director at the time. Just as it had been for Susan Whistler when she first came to the Mound, I felt as if I had come home. Ever since then, I have admired the New England Society for the following reasons. The financial aid it gives to New York City students who need help in attending New England colleges. For its highly respected annual Books Award, which recognizes books that honor New England culture and engages many committed readers, which is very much akin to the Mount's far-reaching, extremely popular literary programs. The strong emphasis in the New England Society on upholding the principles of many of our founding fathers who came from New England is something we could well use today. And throughout all of this, we all developed warm friendships while putting together fundraising events that the New England Society has given over the years. I arrived in Lenox, Massachusetts on a bitterly cold day in November 2009 to begin my work with Susan Whistler at the Mound. This has continued to this day and has firmly kept New England in my life. I am truly embraced and blessed by my New England roots, the New England Society, and the Mound. I thank you all for being there for and with me over so many years of my life. Wonderful years. Thank you.
Hello, New England Society. My name is Caitlin Schroeder, and I'm one of NES's 2019 scholarship recipients. I currently attend Worcester Polytechnic Institute in Worcester, Massachusetts, studying robotics engineering as my major with business as a minor, and I'm currently actually an RA on campus as well. I'm part of the class of 2023, and I'm so excited that I was able to get a scholarship from the New England Society. It's helped me a lot more than I even know sometimes, as I'm able to take hold of internship and research opportunities that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise, as I would have probably been working a part-time job. During the pandemic, life on campus has been really interesting, but at the same time, still really fun. WPI is a really close campus, and it's just like a community and a family. So it's nice to be able to interact with students, especially as an RA, helping first years adjust to new life on college campus. Receiving this scholarship from NES has changed my life, and I'm happy to say that it has helped me become the person I am today. I'd like to thank NES for this scholarship and all that they've done, and I hope that in the future they're able to give out these scholarships to more and more students. Thank you, and have a great night.
Hello. It is an honor for me to not only be a part of the New England Society, but to speak and share my experience through this virtual 2020 Gala. Although our interactions are limited, my gratitude, appreciation, and zeal I want to express to you for this program does not change. My name is Maya Janicki, and I am currently a second year attending Northeastern University, located in Boston, Massachusetts, studying towards a degree with combined majors in computer science and business administration. Although my college experience has been rather unorthodox, Northeastern University has gone above and beyond to provide its students with the opportunity to make the most of students' college experience. It introduced a new concept known as NUFlex, which is essentially where some students will be in the classroom and some will learn remotely. This allowed me to actually be on campus this year. As many students can agree, COVID has really taken away many opportunities, such as meeting new people, working with clubs, in-person co-ops, and even the late group study sessions in the library the night before an exam, which I oddly miss. However, we're making the most out of what we can do and being very cautious while doing it. My roommates and I always plan to do something together to clear our minds and remember to be grateful for what we have given the circumstances. We're actually going to Salem and apple picking this weekend to get into the Halloween spirit. None of these experiences and possibilities would be a reality without the New England Society. I would not have been able to attend the school of my dreams. Although it's been over a year, I still have to process the fact that I attend this school. Every day that I walk through my beautiful campus in this beautiful city, I take a moment and appreciate everyone and everything that have made it possible for me to be here. From the bottom of my heart, I deeply appreciate the support of my education from the New England Society. Thank you for providing me with the possibility to pursue my academics and help me in my journey to achieve my aspirations, make my family proud, and ultimately become the best version of myself to make a difference in this world.
Doesn't it feel great to know that NES has contributed in shaping the lives of these future leaders? Thank you, Caitlin and Maya. NES Donors appreciates our wonderful members and donors. These individuals have given gifts to our scholarship fund or general operating fund since December 2019. We'd like to thank Carol and Dan Burak, Danzy Burnham, Amy Connor, Mary Moran, John M. Powers, Bruno Quinson, and Edward Seidel, a new NES member this year. Thank you. And we especially want to recognize substantial gifts to the Scholarship Fund from Annie Hall Elsa, Sonny Hayward and Richard Johnson, Thomas and Colleen Hills, Arnold Neese and the Neese Family Foundation, and Jay Sherwood. Thank you so much. We all thank you for your contribution. Now, let me introduce your auctioneer for the evening, Robbie Gordy. Robbie Gordy is an auctioneer and MC for live and virtual events across the United States. A Fulbright scholar and graduate of the Connaught Institute of Art in London, Robbie studied auctioneering at Christie's Auction House in New York, where he served as an associate vice president and presided over some of the company's most prestigious sales. Since he began auctioneering in 2013, Robbie has raised over $100 million for philanthropic, civic, and cultural organizations of all shapes and sizes. Thank you, Robbie, for being with us this evening.
Well, thank you so much, Phelps. It is great to be here with you all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, all you supporters of NES. Thanks for that wonderful introduction, Phelps. I'm so thrilled to be here with you in black tie, even though things are just a little bit different this year. I hope you are all clinking your champagne at home and that we will all gather together in person very soon. But in the meantime, you still have so many opportunities to give money, to raise money for NES. And one of those, which is such a special one, is our silent auction. Now, that silent auction bidding there is open. And so what I want you to do is click the silent auction button on your screen, go there and browse all the incredible items available. Bidding is safe, it's easy, it's secure, and this is such a great opportunity to support the inspiring students and stories that you've heard about tonight, all for NES. Now, we have some fabulous packages, like I said, but I would like to highlight just a few that I think are extra special here. And I think one that's especially great is a fabulous vacation, a Gilded Age weekend in the Berkshires. Now, 2020 is the year when I think we all wanted a vacation, but just couldn't quite get one. But now this is your chance, all for NES. So this is an extraordinary weekend, which includes 2 nights with breakfast and dinner at Blantyre, that award-winning luxury Forbes 5-star resort in Western Massachusetts. You're going to rest, relax, recharge in pure Gilded Age style, fitting with tonight's theme. And this is very special. You will have a day of special tours at Edith Wharton's home, the Mount. You get to tour her library, the gardens, the stable. Now, I was just at the Mount last year, and I can tell you, I'm sure you all know, it's such a special place. And very, very cool. Your visit will be highlighted by lunch on the terrace with Executive Director Susan Whistler. So for all you history buffs out there, all you fans of NES in general, and I know that's all of you, this is your chance to bid competitively for a fabulous weekend. Now, This is also the first auction I've done with its own official mascot. So also available in the silent auction is Jeffrey. He's the official mascot of the NES silent auction, and he is a plush giraffe standing at just over 4 feet tall. Now, for all you grandparents or parents with kids out there, this is such an excellent chance to give to NES and bring home a delightful companion for the young or even slightly older. Buy it for yourself. We also have a fabulous package golf day for 4 at the Mesquamicut Club in Rhode Island. Includes golf, lunch, all the caddy fees. So for all you golfers out there, ladies and gentlemen, this is your chance. Another special one from an art historical perspective, I think, is the Great American Eagle sculpture, an original sculpture by the American artist Gilroy Roberts, also available in the silent auction. Now, Gilroy Roberts, he died in 1992, but you might know him as the sculptor, the engraver of that John F. Kennedy $50. He carved John F. Kennedy's face. So this is your chance to get a true symbol of the United States, of America, and think about every time you see it, the student scholars that you are helping support with your generosity. And one more item that I really want to talk about, one that I have my eye on personally as the weather gets colder in the city of New York, it's the mink coat, which I love, by Andres Gusto. Now, this is the medium-sized, knee-length black wool coat with a mink trim collar and cuffs. Very luxurious. It's perfect then as the weather gets colder, as winter settles in. And remember, every time you wear that fur coat, every time you look at the stuffed giraffe, or as you enjoy your weekend in the Berkshires, think about the stories, the students of NES, and how you contribute to their success with your bidding. So remember, we want you to get those bids in now. We want to keep that competition going, even if we are virtual here tonight. So go to that silent auction page as you continue to enjoy yourself tonight. Keep bidding, keep driving those prices up. Think about who on the other side of the computer screen might be outbidding you, and just give one more yourself. Keep those bids coming. I will be back in just a bit to tell you about another very special moment that we have for you to give. That is our scholarship appeal for our inspiring NES scholars. But in the meantime, sit back, relax, enjoy yourselves, enjoy the program, keep bidding on those silent auction items, and we'll be back shortly.
Just in time, I found you just in time. Before you came, my time was running low. I was lost, the losing dice were tossed. My bridges all were crossed, nowhere to go. Just where I'm going, no more doubt or fear. I found my way, for love came just in time. I found you just in time and changed my lonely life that lucky day. Now you're here, and I know just where I'm going. No more doubt or fear. I found my way, for love came just in time. I found you just in time and changed my lonely life that lucky day. That lonely life, that lucky day.
When marimba rhythms start to play, dance with me, make me sway. Like a lazy ocean hugs the shore, hold me close, sway me more. Like a flower bending in the breeze, bend with me, sway with ease. When we dance you have a way with me, stay with me, sway with me. Other dancers may be on the floor, dear, but my eyes will see only you. Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, I go weak. I can hear the sound of violins long before it begins. Make me thrill as only you know how. Sway me smooth, sway me now. Other dancers may be on the floor, dear, but my eyes will see only you. Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, I go weak. I can hear the sound of violins long before it begins. Make me sway as only you know how. Sway me smooth, sway me now. Oh, sway, 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 sway. Oh, sway, sway.
Now, how would you like to get to know your 2020 scholars better? What they think and feel? I thought you would. In this segment, Student Speak, we talked about 2020 recipients, asking them thought-provoking questions. Let's start with Shaunia. Shaunia, what do you consider to be the single most important societal problem and why?
That's a great question, Phelps. Something I consider to be the single most important societal problem is the lack of equality within the school systems. Growing up, the schooling systems in my neighborhood did not provide as many opportunities as other school systems in other neighborhoods. In order for me to get those opportunities, I have to go outside of my neighborhood. Luckily for me, I had that opportunity, and because of that, I am where I am today in a college dorm taking classes, making amazing friends, and growing as not only as a person, but as a future entrepreneur. If more students had the same opportunity that I was granted, there would be such a higher percentage of students going to college. And if students are able to go to college, they'll be able to find what career works best for them, and they'll be able to work jobs that make them happy.
Thank you, Shaunia. Lack of equality in the school systems is a big societal problem. Thanks for sharing your experience. We look forward to being a part of the change we so desperately need. Hello, Ramon. Thank you for being here. What does being successful look like to you?
That's an excellent question, Phillips. What being successful looks like to me is a person who is not afraid to fail numerous times and improve from those failures in order to accomplish the goals that they have set for themselves. Although many people are afraid to fail, I believe this is a critical lesson in a person's life to build value and character in order to help their communities. Like the book The Alchemist, people tend to focus on the end goal, yet forget about the journey. For many people, this journey can consist of sleepless nights, sacrifices, and challenges that they may face. But it's overcoming these challenges that make a person successful.
Thank you, Ramon. What a profound answer. Many of us can relate to our journey being filled with failures. We learn from them, they build character, and put us on the road to success. Thank you for sharing. Welcome, Raina. We'd like to know if you had the authority to change your school in a positive way, what specific changes would you make?
Thank you for the opportunity to answer this question, Phelps. It took me a little bit of time to think about and answer this question because I'm currently at home studying online. The reality is that my school has done a really good job transitioning classes for students studying remotely. As someone who's starting college virtually, I feel as though I'm able to learn just as much as those on campus. The challenge has been how to engage with my college community outside of academics. Though I have met a few people through clubs, I don't feel as though I'm as integrated with my college community as a whole in the way that I would if I was walking through hallways and around campus. I haven't even been able to engage with other students in my own classes because it's so difficult to meet each other while having to focus on class. I would address this challenge by creating more ways to engage and meet others, such as online forums for students to discuss life or online gatherings. Different from clubs, these gatherings would serve no purpose other than to chat, let loose, and meet new people. There's also more freedom in terms of when and how often students attend. They could be specific to course, class, or major, and it would allow students to feel more included and more at ease in terms of meeting new people.
Thank you, Raina. This pandemic has really changed how we engage with people, and colleges and universities have to include ways to engage students with programs where they connect with each other. You have great suggestions, and Boston University will certainly benefit from listening to them. Adrian, what do you see as the greatest threat to the environment today?
Thank you for asking, Mr. Phelps Hope. I believe the greatest threat to the environment today is governmental action, specifically the disconnect between politicians and scientists. For as long as we can remember, the leaders of countries around the world have been politicians with excellent knowledge of the law and experience in serving the people. Having knowledgeable people in charge who can determine how to best serve the public is a great thing. However, problems we face today regarding the environment are much more complex than what is covered in the scope of a political science course. The politicians drafting legislation and deciding our course of action to tackle these problems are not scientists, nor engineers, nor experts in these fields. It is imperative that as people, we acknowledge the fact that there are others who have spent their entire lives researching and studying specific phenomena such as climate change, the effects of fracking, and proper waste disposal, who should be influencing the laws that are passed regarding how we deal with these issues.
Great answer from a future leader. You're right. Listen to the experts. Scientists have spent their entire lives in research, and politicians should listen to a great deal more. Thank you, and well done, Adrian. Last but not least, hi, Tracy. How has your family background affected the way you see the world?
Well, that's definitely a tough question. So I come from an 8-person family with parents and grandparents who immigrated from Fuzhou, China, 3 younger siblings, and me. And as the oldest child, I carried a lot of responsibility and was essentially the bridge between my parents and America. They always relied on me as the translator of the family, helping them to decode government forms and communicate with customers in their Chinese takeout restaurant. And when my parents were studying for their citizenship exams, I would quiz them on who George Washington was and what the 50 stars on the American flag symbolized. So, having had these experiences, I've learned to recognize that I have the skills and the power to shape the lives of those around me. And this is one of the reasons why I'm motivated to pursue a career as a lawyer, so that I can fight for the rights of others and make an impact within my community.
Tracy, your experiences helping your family assimilate here from China will make you an exceptional lawyer and an advocate for those in need. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you, NES, for all that you have done.
Thank you, NES.
Thank you so much, New England Society.
Thank you so much, NES.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, this is our biggest moment of the evening. It's our scholarship appeal. And this is your chance to make an indelible impact in the education, in the life, really, of the kind of inspiring student scholars that you have been hearing about tonight. Now, what I think is so special about this organization is that while it looks to the past, the rich history of New England, places like the Mount, it also recognizes the importance of looking forward to the future. And that's where the scholarship program that you're going to help fund tonight comes in. It's where you come in to make a donation and change the life of a student scholar. Now, it's important to note that the New England Society Scholarship Program, the one that we are going to fundraise for right now, is a need-based program. And so what that means is that when you give, you provide a chance for some of New York's brightest, most intelligent students to achieve their educational goals and dreams. Now, you know, today college is more expensive than ever. You've got tuition, room, board, books, materials, it all adds up. And what the New England Society Scholarship Program does is ease that burden on the students who would otherwise have to go through financial sacrifice to be able to get that first-rate education they have worked so hard for. And you've heard all about this year's incredible 5 scholars. We all know they are going to go on to do amazing things. And when you help fund this program tonight, that is building the next generation of student scholars, giving them a better life and incredible education. Now, giving is so easy, all right? It's fast, it's secure. All you have to do is click the Make a Donation button that you see right there on your screen. Once again, click that Make a Donation there that you see on the screen, and you'll be taken to a page where you can complete your donation. Once again, it's easy, fast, and secure. Now, the cliche of 2020 is that this year is so much different than before, right? You've heard it a million times. But what I think remains the same are the needs of these kinds of student scholars. And what that requires is your generosity. I would say that your generosity, your giving is more important now than ever. So as you're contemplating giving tonight, whether it's $5, $50, $1,000, whatever it is, I think you should think about it like this. At some point in your life, someone took a chance on you that brought you to where you are today, right now. Maybe it was a teacher who took some extra time to help you improve in school. Maybe it was a boss who gave you the interview that led to your career. Maybe it was someone who made a donation to a scholarship fund however many years ago. You might not ever know who they are. They did it at a gala years ago. You got that scholarship, and that allowed you to go on and make an incredible life for yourself and get an incredible education. I know that's how it happened for me. I know that without the generosity of scholarship donors, I would never have been able to get the kind of quality education, come to New York, become an auctioneer that I ended up achieving. So this is your chance to click that Make a Donation bit on the page, click Make a Donation, and pay it forward to an inspiring student scholar. You know, do it as a message of confidence, of hope, in the future of our country, in the young people who are working so hard to achieve their dreams. Remember, all you have to do is click Make a Donation, give generously, and as you do, you'll see the donation level continue to rise as we all join together. And remember that no amount of money is too small. We want 100% participation from everyone joining us here tonight for NES. So again, whether that's $5 or $50, $5,000, whatever it is, it all makes such a difference in the lives of the inspiring scholars, the kind that you've heard about all evening. Now, as you continue to enjoy yourselves tonight, as we keep those donations coming, continue to give generously and continue to build a bright future, the kind of bright future that I think has been at the heart and the soul of the New England Society for generations. Tonight, you are paying that forward to the next generation of citizens, of leaders, of students. We can do this together. Click that Make a Donation button. Give generously. Give from the bottom of your heart. Keep giving throughout the evening as you are inspired. Thanks so much for your generosity. We can do this together. Let's keep up the good work.
Please welcome one of your very own, Carl Raymond, culinary historian specializing in 19th century British and American cuisine.
Thank you so much, and a warm welcome to all my fellow New England Society and the City of New York members joining tonight for this wonderful occasion. And a very special hello and congratulations to Susan Whistler, whom we're honoring tonight and whose wonderful work we're celebrating. I am so honored to be with you to speak briefly tonight. I'm a writer, a lecturer, a social historian, and my specialty is food history and culture. And I'm a deeply passionate specialist in the life and work of Edith Wharton. So I am particularly honored to be part of tonight's festivities. And what better way to celebrate than to look into Edith's world, into both her life and those of her lives of her characters, and see how food was a way to define character and how it gives us insight into that complicated, many-layered, complex world we call the Gilded Age. The Gilded Age was that period roughly from 1870 through the end of the century when money was no object and wealth was shown in architecture and fashion, and of course, what was on the dining tables of America's elite. Wharton captured it all, and although she never devoted a volume to food writing, when she does mention a dish or describe a dinner in her work, we must pay attention. She is telling us something. Her great work, The Age of Innocence, contains a number of instances in which Edith gives us a sense of character and place through food and table settings. Early in the novel, Mr. and Mrs. Lowell Mingott prepare for a dinner to invite New York to reintroduce the Countess Olenska to society. And we learn invitations have been sent out, and I quote, for what is to be a formal dinner. That is extra footmen, 2 dishes for each course, and a Roman punch in the middle. You may well be enjoying a bit of Roman punch this evening. Roman punch for the Gilded Age was derived indeed from punch alla romana. And interestingly, the word was stolen from English into Italian. But it wasn't a cocktail in the Gilded Age of Innocence. It was more of a heavily iced, rather alcoholic palate cleanser between courses in the middle of a long, formal meal. But it's been since, of course, fashioned into a modern cocktail. Delmonico's recipe and preparation for it, written in 1894, presents it as a lemon-flavored ice with Italian meringue whipped in and copious additions of rum and champagne, and in fact encourages you to add other spirits of your choice. Delmonico's advises the punch should be sufficiently liquid to be drunk without using a spoon and served very soon after being made. Serve it in upright glasses provided with the handles. Roman punch was served at many dinners on formal American tables, including the White House. However, by the 1920s, it was thought out of fashion, and society's new arbiter of taste, Emily Post, proclaimed it had become passé. Returning to the Age of Innocence, we find that New York declines the Mingott's dinner invitation due to the Countess's alleged scandalous behavior, and it is left to Henry and Louisa van der Luyden, as representatives of the Knickerbocker Old New York, to offer their seal of approval of the Countess Olenska and invite her instead as a guest to a dinner with them. For this, Wharton gives us a sense of the exquisite table settings of English and French influences on what would have been truly a spectacular table. The van der Luydens had done their best to emphasize the importance of the occasion. The Du Lac Sèvres and the Trevenna George II plate were out, as was the van der Luyden Lowestoft East India Company and the Dagonet Crown Derby. In Old New York, you found out as much about someone from what decorated the table as from what was actually served on the plates. In the very first scene of Warton's best-selling book, The House of Mirth, in 1905, we see the ill-fated heroine Lily Bart meeting her friend by chance, Lawrence Selden, at Grand Central Station, and she immediately suggests, "Shall we go to Terry's for tea?" Louis Sherry was the great impresario of hospitality and the competitor to Delmonico, who had established in the 1890s a restaurant and hospitality empire just across the street on Fifth Avenue from the venerable Delmonico's. And together, the two palaces vied for the attentions of the Gilded Age. Sherry managed to capture the tastes and the purses of the famous 400, who, according to Ward McAllister, amounted to a who's who of New York society. Louis Sherry was a great marketer and founded his business on giving the customer whatever they wanted. And in a world where money was truly no object, he became even more famous for an extraordinary dinner he provided one of his guests. His guest, C.K.G. Billings, the multimillionaire and importer. And to entertain Billings' horse-loving rider friends, Sherry created the famed Dinner on Horseback for Billings and his 36 guests, who dined in Sherry's ballroom on caviar, trout, rack of lamb, and asparagus with hollandaise, all served on silver trays on horseback. The saddlebags were filled with bottles of champagne. Of course, he was not to be outdone by another famous dinner, this one at Delmonico's, when diners found their immense dining table converted to a small lake. And as they dined, they could watch a pair of swans gliding about in their golden Tiffany cage. Sherry was well known for bringing a grand meal, including chefs and staff and china and silver and dining tables right to your mansion. And for this, I think of him often as New York's first celebrity caterer. Some of Sherry's catering notebooks actually survive to this day, and it's through them I'm able to give you a very special and rare insight into two dinners that touched Edith's world. The beloved character of Mrs. Manson Mingott, the benevolent grandmother of May and Ellen in The Age of Innocence, was modeled on Edith's own great aunt, the equally inimitable Mrs. Mary Mason Jones. Sherry's notes reveal that in 1891, Mrs. Jones hosted a small dinner for 22 in one of Sherry's private rooms, and she offered her guests oysters, lobsters, sweetbreads, grilled chicken, and that great Gilded Age favorite, peas. Next, I want to take you into one of Sherry's grandest evenings, this one on January 6th, 1899, to be specific, and it was a grand opera ball hosted by none other than the queen of Gilded Age society, Mrs. Carolyn Astor, or more correctly, just Mrs. Astor. Mrs. Astor was in fact Edith Wharton's first cousin, and although they had met, of course, they were not close. Edith captures Caroline in her short story, After Holbein, not, it must be said, in the most flattering light. But let me take you to the ball. It was at Mrs. Astor's double mansion at 842 Fifth Avenue on the corner of 65th Street. It was a midnight ball for 400. And here we have the menu written by Sherry's clerks in their own hand. Now, an Astor ball began with the opera, usually a Wagnerian production at the new Metropolitan Opera House. And that was true this evening. In The Age of Innocence, Wharton gives us a wonderful detail of Mrs. Julius Beaufort rising and leaving the opera far from its conclusion to signal to all attending that her own ball would begin in the next 30 minutes. But setting her own rules as well, Mrs. Astor preferred not to attend the opera on the nights she gave a ball. She remained at her mansion, overseeing every detail and decking herself in what in today's money would be several $1 million worth of diamonds, including some allegedly owned by Marie Antoinette. Mrs. Astor preferred a sit-down supper rather than the typical buffet one found at balls, and she offered a number of dishes known to her guests as classics of the period. Wharton often mentions canvasback duck in her dinner descriptions, notably at the dinner served to bid the Countess Olenska farewell to New York, a dinner given by the Archers, and which included the duck, also terrapin, another classic of the Gilded Age, along with another it vegetable, asparagus. And the Archers served a Roman punch in the middle. The ubiquitous canvasback duck appeared on Mrs. Astor's menu as well. That much coveted wild duck could easily cost hundreds of dollars a piece at the time, which translates into several $1,000s in today's money. Sherry prepared also for the ball the terrapin, that delicate turtle from the Maryland marshes cooked in a beautiful light sauce of Madeira infused with herbs. Guests dined on poultry with a sauce Perrigo, which demanded a very lengthy and careful preparation, which also had a bit of Madeira, an infusion of fresh truffles, and of course, butter. Through these menus and Sherry's notebooks and these unique and really rare documents, and of course, the detailed descriptions that Wharton gives us, we really can have the most extraordinary taste of what this time was really like. Despite her exceptional talents in writing, from travel writing to autobiography and poetry, interior design, and of course fiction, Wharton can never be considered a food writer. But as we said at the beginning, her mentions of food are important for all they can tell us. One of my favorite moments, which is not really a food quote at all, but it's one in which Wharton reveals her own self. And in this case, it's her utter hatred of the architecture that she sees springing up all over the city. As Newland Archer contemplates the new home that he will inhabit with May in that rapidly growing neighborhood of East 39th Street, we are told the neighborhood was thought remote, and the house was built of greenish yellow stone that the younger architects were beginning to employ as a protest against the brownstone in which the uniform hue coated New York like a cold chocolate sauce. Edith Wharton used to say that she saw the world as a series of pictures and that she wanted to make each one just a little more beautiful. And indeed she did, in her homes, her gardens, and the rooms and the spaces that she inhabited. So it was with a celebration of that beauty that we honor both Susan and Edith tonight. I like to say with no hesitation that in her work and in her writing, Edith Wharton gives us the very best seat at the table. So thank you very much. And in the spirit of Edith Wharton, and certainly a grand Astor Ball, here's to.
Ever since 2009, it has been my great pleasure to be a colleague of Susan Whistler, the executive director of the Mount, Edith Wharton's historic home in the heart of the Berkshires in Lenox, Massachusetts. You can imagine how delighted I was after 27 years as a member of the New England Society to learn that this august, 2-century-old society was going to honor Susan. Susan originally came from California. With a father in the Navy, she moved every couple of years, living up and down the East Coast, in Florida and Hawaii, and in the Philippines before enrolling at Stanford University. After spending her sophomore year abroad, Susan returned to the U.S. and finished her undergraduate studies at Brown University in 1983, majoring in psychology. She started Columbia Law School that same year. Ever the traveler, Susan took an internship in Tokyo before graduating from Columbia in 1986 and settling into a job at the New York law firm Wilkie, Farr & Gallagher. Choosing corporate law as her specialty, Susan particularly enjoyed the mergers and acquisition work she did for the next 10 years. From the moment Susan first came to the Mount in 2001, it became the love of her life, and she felt as if she had come home. When Susan took over leadership of the Mount in 2008, the organization was struggling with significant debt and facing the threat of foreclosure. It was her psychology degree and her mergers and acquisitions work that had developed her negotiating skills and nerves of steel needed to completely turn around the Mount. She did this first by successfully overcoming the serious foreclosure threat, and 7 years later, masterminding the complete elimination of all of the Mount's remaining $4.6 million in debt, which was done with awesome determination in just 6 months. To this day, Susan feels that she has one of the best jobs in the world, and that she is so lucky to come onto such a beautiful property every day. In a minute, Susan will be telling you what has been accomplished at the Mount over the last 12 years under her leadership. On behalf of the Mount, we want you to know that we are extremely grateful to the New England Society for honoring Susan.
Good evening. I'm deeply honored to receive this prestigious award, and I'm delighted to receive this beautiful silver bowl. So New England Society, thank you. And I must tell you that I am deeply humbled by the distinguished list of recipients who precede me. First, I want to just give a quick shout out to Sarah Hudson. Sarah, congratulations on your award tonight. We've been colleagues for nearly a decade, I think, and I must say I know what a tremendous asset that you can be. And I'd also like to especially thank New England Society members, President Benedict Gediminsky, Vice President Ellen Scordato, Gala Committee Co-Chair Sunny Hayward, and Executive Director Alexander Owens. Finally, I'd like to especially thank all of you in attendance this evening. You've been so supportive of both the New England Society and the Mount throughout this very challenging year. Now, I don't know if all of you know, but Edith Wharton was no fan of New York City. Her recollection of the old New York where she grew up was that it was intolerably ugly, filled with untended streets and narrow houses. Comparing it unfavorably to the European capitals, she called it a cramped horizontal gridiron of a town without towers, porticos, fountains, or perspectives. But Edith Wharton found tremendous beauty and solace in the New England countryside. And she and Teddy decide on Lenox, Massachusetts as the site for the Mount, which she would describe in her memoir as her first real home. Writing to friends, she declares herself in love with the place, climate, scenery, life, and all. And so comfortably settled in and nourished by the New England's landscape, it is at the Mount where Wharton truly comes into her own as a writer. It's also where she demonstrates her considerable skills as a designer of houses and gardens. She poured herself into every aspect of the estate, and when it was completed in 1902, local newspapers marveled at its elegance. Sadly, due to a failing marriage and public disapproval of divorce, Wharton was compelled to leave the Mount in 1911, moving to France where she would live out the rest of her days. Subsequent occupants included 2 private families, a private girls' school, and a local theater group. By the late 90s, the Mount was in serious disrepair. The Albany Times-Union described it as a sickly white elephant and monument to neglect. Thankfully, a group of concerned citizens rallied to save the estate, and the journey to revitalize the Mount began. It's not been an easy one. At various points, we've had to stave off the threat of commercial development and even foreclosure. When I assumed the helm in 2008, many hurdles loomed still before us. At that time, we were largely perceived as exclusive, non-welcoming, and irrelevant. Our first step toward building a new, friendlier image was to take down the velvet ropes so visitors could roam the house freely as if it were their own. We began hosting free outdoor jazz evenings that now attract between 600 and 800 people in a single evening. Wharton famously said, "The air of ideas is the only air worth breathing." And we've used her words as the inspiration for our programming. Today, we present a robust roster, on-site and online, of events. Everything from slam poetry to lectures with Pulitzer Prize-winning authors to an annual outdoor sculpture show. As community appreciation has grown, our finances have stabilized. The Mass Cultural Council, the town of Lenox, and private donors have begun to fund our ongoing restoration efforts. Board recruitment has become easier. We now have nearly 25 dedicated, talented trustees, and public sentiment has turned from judgment to affection and respect. The National Trust for Historic Preservation has publicly commended the Mount for depicting the resiliency of historic sites and their potential to reimagine and reinvent themselves. Recently, the editor of Antiques magazine described the Mount as an open-ended adventure that does not bring to mind the words House Museum. This transformation would not have been possible without the hard work of the staff and the steadfast support of the Board of Trustees. This past March, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we decided to open our gardens and grounds to the public for free. The community, I can tell you, has welcomed having a place of beauty and solace where they can safely be in nature and fresh air. For the first time, people are calling the Mount an oasis. And in these uncertain times, I think that may be the most beautiful compliment of all. So I thank you again for this award, and I wish everyone a very good evening.
Congratulations, Susan Whistler, for being this year's Townsend Award winner and for all of the great work which you have done at the Mount. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan, and congratulations on being recognized for this prestigious award. Well, we've come to the conclusion of our program. Robbie, any final words on the auction?
Well, Phelps, it's been such an incredibly inspiring evening, and it's not over yet. So there is still time to make a donation to that scholarship fund that we heard about all evening. Like I said before, NES always looks at the past and also to the future. So if you want to contribute to the continued success, to change a life of one of those types of amazing student scholars that you've heard about this evening, there's still time left to do so. Remember, all you have to do is click Make a Donation on the screen. Like I said, whether it's $5, $50, $500, we would love 100% participation from everyone watching here tonight. You love NES. You know it's the reason why you're here, why you're so committed. It's one of the oldest charitable organizations in New York, and we're going to keep it going for generations to come. So make that donation, click that link on your screen. And of course, the silent auction is also still going. You've got the Berkshire's Getaway, the fabulous golf package, that mink coat, which I still have my eye on. All those things are still in play. So get that competition going, keep those bids coming, and continue to contribute to the great work of NES.
Fantastic. Robbie, what a great job. So from all of us to you, thank you for being with us this evening. You've really helped to make this auction super special this year. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much. Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't thank our sponsors for this continued support and for their participation this evening. So thank you to our platinum level partners, Berlin Packaging, Page Packaging. Thank you also to our gold level sponsors, Bruchem Inc., Power Packaging, Protamine Chemicals. Thank you also to our silver level partner, Newton Foods USA. Thanks also to our bronze level partner, Innovative Plastics Corp., Ray Fegge. We'd also like to thank the illustrious annual Gala Committee, the co-chairs, Ellen Scordato and Sunny Haywood. Well done. Great job organizing everything. Jan Whitman Ogden, Silent Auction Chair. Jan, fantastic job spearheading such a great collection of items. All of the helpers, the help of Sarah Hunter Hudson, Lori Jeffrey, Daisy Pearson, Sal and Diane Scalonia, and Carolyn Zazima. Thank you all for a huge effort and for making tonight so special for all of us. So you were able to socialize with your friends at the very beginning of our program before we started with music and conversation. And if you missed it, you now have the opportunity to talk about the program and say goodnight to your friends over a drink and good music. Just click the button above where it says Join NES Social Room. That's a Zoom call. You'll go into the Zoom call and we can socialize together. So without any further ado, I'd like to say thank you all for joining us for our first ever virtual event. And I, for one, think it was a great success and I had an awesome time. Thank you for joining me. Have a great evening. Good night.